Hey there, survivors. Rosanna Novice again with MindShift Thrive Global Ministries. Another wonderful episode. We have season 2 of Community Leaders. We're excited. There is someone very special that we want you to meet. Her name is Amy Barfield, and she's the Executive Director of Family Haven. Thank you, Amy, for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate the fact that you're here. And what you do is extremely important. I want you to let the survivors know what you do. And if you can explain about the organization, the services provided. And I think it's really essential for the survivors to know that there is help out there and what you do is critical. So take it away, Amy.
All right. So I'm the Executive Director for Forsyth County Family Haven, and we are located in Forsyth County of Georgia.
Okay.
We are a domestic violence shelter that provides comprehensive services to victims of domestic violence and their families. We support survivors. We do not support the abusers in any way at all.
Okay.
Some of the services we provide to clients are a 90-day emergency shelter. We have a 21-bed shelter in Forsyth County. Mm-hmm. We are usually full. We have legal advocacy, which somebody will accompany survivors to court and go to for TPO hearings.
What's a TPO?
A temporary protective order.
Okay.
So they'll go to the initial hearing and then they'll go to the follow-up hearing with you, and then they'll help guide the survivor through the TPO process and be there as a support for them in the courtroom. We provide referrals to counseling services, to all kinds of things that survivors may need. It maybe is help with childcare resources or job placement or those types of things. We work very closely with other nonprofits in our community.
Good.
So that we're not all doing the same thing, but we are helping each other. And I think that's real important, because then we're able to meet more of the needs of a survivor versus just what our mission is to get them to safety.
Absolutely.
When a client arrives to Family Haven, they are given, they come in, and the way they get to us is through our 24-hour crisis line. And they make that phone call. We do the initial assessment if we have space for them and it's a good fit for them. And when I talk about a good fit, it depends. We talk to the survivor about whether or not what they're fleeing. And if they are from our county and maybe live close to the shelter, or their abuser works nearby, or things like that, then maybe our shelter is not the right place for them. And so then we will advocate for them to other shelters in surrounding areas to provide them safety. If a survivor leaves, the most dangerous time for a survivor is when they make the decision to leave. And so if they go into a setting that is familiar to them or to the abuser, then they're leaving themselves open. If they continue to go to the same grocery store, they continue their same work patterns, and the child continues to be in school in the same place. Okay. So we try to look at that and see if they need to move to a different location. We do have relationships with the surrounding shelters and throughout the state. Sometimes we do need to move somebody farther away for safety reasons, because it is critical that we keep everybody in the shelter safe, including staff and other survivors.
Absolutely. So it's in a very high-profile, confidential location.
Correct. We don't give out our address to anybody. Even clients who come into shelter will first go to the Cumming Police Department, and they will meet an officer there, whether they have a car or not. And the officer will then guide them, if they have their own car, to the shelter, or they will load all their things up into their vehicle and bring them to the shelter themselves. Okay. So that initial contact is through Cumming Police Department. And we are very, very fortunate to have that relationship with the Cumming Police Department. I do call them our best friends in the community. They work very closely with us and help to make sure we're safe. And it's nice to have them to count on.
Wonderful. So establishing those community partnerships is essential.
Yes.
The more partnerships you have in the surrounding, even within the state, the more you're able to help them.
That is correct, because every client that comes to us is coming to us at a different place in their journey. We know the statistic is that they will go back 7 times before they finally make the break, and there are a lot of reasons for that. We talk to survivors all the time about that journey and what it looks like, and it is not my job to question their why or to judge their why. And I get asked that question all the time. Why would somebody stay? It sounds ridiculous to stay. And my response is always, I don't know. My job is not to judge the why, but my job is to understand the why so that I can help break down barriers to that why. And there are a lot of different reasons that people stay. There are several forms of abuse. I like to tell people all the time, too, that when I'm out in the community and I'm talking to people, that it didn't start that way. The abuse didn't start right away.
That's right.
Nobody would go on a first date and be mistreated by somebody and continue to go back for date number 2.
That's right.
So it is, an abuser is manipulative. They start with little things, maybe like saying, I don't like your blouse, don't wear that anymore. It's little when it's not, it's really not. And so they pray for those times that are good to last longer and just get through those bad times. And so we talk to survivors about what their needs are. We have some that come to us and they've already got a job, they've already got a car, they've already got things worked out. They just need a spot to figure out where they're supposed to go next.
Okay.
And it's truly a safety thing. Some of them leave with nothing. Some of them have not been allowed to work. It takes me to a story of one of my very first intake at Family Haven was with a beautiful woman and her 2 beautiful small children, and she came in a very, very nice vehicle. And it was loaded with all of their things. And they came in, and we're talking very well dressed. So the myth needs to break, too, that it only happens to certain types of people. It happens to all types of people. There is no barrier there. The rich, the poor, the educated, the uneducated, all religions. It doesn't know any barriers.
That's
and
right.
So it is, so she comes in and they're dressed very nicely, and she comes in and we sit her down and we ask her if she has any money that she would like to access because she left while he was at work. And she said, no. And I remember because I was just starting out, and I was like, gosh, how do you have all those things and have zero money to access? And she then went on to explain that her husband had several accounts, and one of them, she only had access to one of them. And in that account, he kept $5 in it. And so he said, when she would go to the store, she had to tell him what she was going to purchase and what she was going to
spend,
right. And why she needed to go to the store, how much money she thought she needed. And he would put that much money in the account. And so at the end of the trip, let's say he put $150 into the account, she only spent $50. She would still have to return with the receipt to show that she bought what she said she was going to buy, and that she was going to, and that she didn't take anything extra out.
Oh my gosh.
So there was no stashing cash away. There was no possibility for that. So she did come to us, even though it was in a nice car and lots of nice things in the car. She had no access to any money, and she'd been unable to work. But she drove through that car line at school every day, and nobody would have questioned because everything on the outside looked great.
I almost feel like he was creating a facade.
Absolutely.
Right?
Was.
So
Yes.
it was 2 different stories. And
Absolutely.
socially, she appeared a certain way.
Of course.
And he set it up that way,
Right.
right?
Yes. And so there's also that level of isolation. Typically, they try to keep you away from people that you trust and that you like, so that they can have complete control. Let's remember one thing. Domestic violence is not about how much somebody loves you, or it's not about love. It is about power and control, and it is controlling somebody else. And,
it
so that comes
disguises as
into
love. Like what you were saying.
yes.
Sometimes it's disguised as, well, it's lustful, right?
So there are, I mean, there are lots of things that go into this. Like I said, an abuser is typically very manipulative. So they'll start out with lots of compliments and flowers, and things will be very good. And then it starts small. Who do you think is going to help you? Are they the best friends to hang out with? Or so it begins that isolation. It upsets me when you go out with your friends. Like, why don't you want to spend all your time with me? And so then that continues to build, and eventually it is, you need me to survive. Or you get married and you have children, and who do you think is going to help you take care of those children?
Wow.
You haven't worked in years. Who's going to hire you?
Entrapment.
And so then the victim begins to believe those things. And so the greatest part about my job is meeting these victims when they come in and changing that mindset from victimhood to survivorship, and helping them find their voice along the way. And that has been the most rewarding part of working with victims.
That was going to be my question. The rewards, the success
There are
stories.
successes,
Yeah.
and we still keep in contact with several that have come through our program. One of the other things that we provide is, once they've worked that 90-day program and they have, we don't charge for any of our services except for transitional housing, and unfortunately, we have a 21-bed shelter, but we only have a 3-unit transitional housing building.
I see.
And so we are only allowed to house 12 in there. And so not everybody gets to go into transitional housing, but they can, after they've worked that 90-day program, if they're able to provide their own way to work, if they are able to pay the monthly fee, which is only $125 a week, and we cover all the utilities and maintenance. So they can move over into transitional housing for up to a year.
Beautiful.
A lot of them don't have to stay that long because they've been given a chance to practice and do it on their own with the safety net of Family Haven and their case manager that continues to work with them through the process.
Yes.
And answer questions and those kind of things. But we have found that those that have been able to go on to transitional housing have been much more successful once they are able to leave. And they still stay in touch with us. And sometimes they call and just ask, hey, my car broke down and it's time for me to buy a new one. What do you think? We kind of guide them and ask them we can do a budget sheet with them. So they never, as long as they want to stay in touch with us, we will always be there to help them.
That's great. Wow.
So,
An angel. It's an angel institution.
we are very fortunate. For me, it is.
Amy, what an amazing story. What an amazing place that the survivors can go to and reach out to all these wonderful services within one location. And I want to thank you for your devotion, your dedication, the love that you pour into these survivors on a daily basis. Appreciate you so much and wanted to So anywho, how can they reach you?
So they can reach us through our crisis line, which is 770-887-1121. You can also access any help throughout the country through the national hotline.
Okay, so the national hotline is 1-800-799-7233.
Okay.
1-800-799-7233. And there's also a Georgia hotline, 1-800-334-2836. Okay, game time.
Okay.
Go like this, Amy. Game time.
Game time.
All right. So we've got, but before, well, you know what? I'll save this for later because you're going to do amazing. This is a little gift that we wanted to give Amy for coming out to the studio and taking out time to talk about the amazing things that Family Haven does. So that's for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, hon. And we're going to do Phone a Friend with Malik. Malik is our production guy. He's in back of the camera, and he's going to help Amy figure out this game, the answers to this game. Are you ready? Phone a Friend, Malik.
Okay.
All right. Hey, survivors, game time.
Game time.
So Amy needs to rank and order the types of abuse. And these are statistics from the United States. So what percentage within all the forms of abuse is going to represent these numbers that are already on this board, okay? So we have 96% of the time this type of abuse is reported within the United States. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so we have the first one at 96%. I'm going to give you the types and then you select one.
Okay.
We have emotional and verbal is one category, physical abuse, economic and financial, digital abuse, and sexual abuse is the last one. So 96% of the time, what type is reported within the United States?
Emotional abuse.
Ding, 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 ding. I've got the bell. Can I grab it really quick? Okay, Big Mel, I'm talking to you. No, I can't grab it. Okay. So, y'all, for the next game time, I have a ding, 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 ding. Okay, you ready? So, emotional abuse. Good job, Amy. Yes, you get to place it there. And next number is 64%. So, what you have left is digital, financial, sexual, and physical.
Physical abuse.
Girl, you are good. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, third one is at 27%. We have digital, financial, and sexual abuse left.
Financial.
Girl, Amy, Miss Amy, she is doing an amazing job. Look at you. You must have been a great student. Were you a great student?
Or
like
it's been a while.
You were a hard worker? Were you a hard worker?
I am a hard worker.
Okay, see, there you go. All right, last two are left. We've got 17%. Digital and sexual. I know it's tough, right? Think of the era we're in.
Digital.
Yes! How did you get that one? And last but not least, sexual.
abuse.
Yes. Amy, you got an A+. And believe it or not, I didn't tell her any of the answers, by the way. And she actually is going to get a little something from MindShift Thrive Global Ministries for Family Haven. We want to give you a check of $100.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That'll go to help support survivors. Thank you.
Yes. Want to help all the survivors we can. So again, thank you, Amy, so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Can I give you a hug?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. Hug time. Thanks, sweetie.
Appreciate you. God bless you.
You too.
Thank you. Survivors, it's Rosanna Novice again with MindShift Thrive. Thank you so much for watching. Amy, thanks again for being here on the show.
Absolutely.
And survivors, please stay safe. There are many institutions like Family Haven all across the country, and we thank you for your time. See you next week, and God bless. Until next time, mwah.